What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. So, um, so this isn't gonna be a gloomy episode of Joe Winko Talk. It's not gonna be gloomy at all, but it is a personal one, I guess, and it's not quite an age-appropriate episode of Joe Winko Talk because it covers quite a mature topic. This episode is only for the people who are old enough to be watching Joe Winko Talk. So yeah, just throwing that out there before I start. Okay, so this is going to be about an awkward gay sex experience that I literally just had about an hour or so ago. So yeah, let's get this party started. No pun intended. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. So back in April or May of this year, I posted an ad on Craigslist looking for guys to hook up with. And as you guys all should know, when it comes to sex, I really only like getting sucked off. So yeah. So I was looking for guys on Craigslist to suck me off. And this one man from Illinois replied to my ad. And I live in Wisconsin, like near Milwaukee, and he claimed to live in Chicago, Illinois, and he was this blonde guy who was 27 years old. That's what he said, and I didn't believe it at first. And he sent me a picture of himself, and it was a picture of him wearing a hoodie, and the picture was kind of blurry also, and I thought right away, okay, this guy definitely looks older. He must be like late 30s, 40s, or maybe even 50s or 60s. Well, not 60s, but maybe even 50s. And I thought he was lying about his age because older guys online, they do that all the time. They always lie about their age for some reason. But either way, as you all should know also, I actually like older guys. So I honestly didn't care at all. I didn't call him out or anything. So we started talking, like we were texting back and forth for months. And he was always too busy to come up to Wisconsin and come meet me because he was always busy working and stuff like that. And he told me how much he loved sucking cock and how excited he was to suck my cock also. And he had a husband too, but they were both in an open relationship and they both knew about me also. Well, they both knew that he was talking to me also, so I was okay with it, and we all were okay with it. So, fast forward to earlier this afternoon, I get a text from him, and he tells me that he's in Milwaukee, and he tells me to come meet him, and I don't have a car at all, so he sent his husband to come pick me up, and I didn't give him my address because I'm smart, but I told him to pick me up from a fast food place instead that I live next to, that I can walk to. So, overall, here's what I thought would happen. I thought his husband was going to come pick me up. He takes me back to the hotel room. I finally meet this guy. I see that he's not 27 at all. I see that he's actually a lot older, but I'm okay with it because, as I said earlier, I like older guys. Which is exactly what I prefer. We'd all get naked. Actually, no. I would get naked. They would keep their clothes on. Then I lay back. Then he starts going down on me, sucking, slurping, and slobbering all over my cock. His husband would be massaging my shoulders and kissing me on the neck and sucking me on my nipples. I'd be laying back, lounging back, sniffing on this stuff, and thinking of my uncle until I have an intense orgasm, which makes it seem like I'm having a demon exercise from my body. Then afterwards, I would shower off, then we all hug each other, and then they would ask me, how would you like to live with us rent-free with free Wi-Fi and have your cock sucked by us several times every single day for the rest of your pathetic life? And then I would be like, shit, are you kidding? Let's do it! But, no, that's not what happened. And let me get to what actually did happen. Nothing really bad, really, to be honest with you guys, but I'll get to it. So, I walk over to the fast food place, and the guy was there to pick me up. His husband was. And I climbed in the car with them, and then I looked at him, and he was this Asian guy, and he looked exactly like Glenn from The Walking Dead. And I was just like, oh, he looks really young. And as I said earlier, I only like older men, and I was expecting some creepy 40 or 50-year-old guy. And as we were driving, he asked me how old I was, and I said I was 21. And then I asked him how old I really am 21, just letting you guys know. Then I asked him how old he was, and he said he was 25. And then I was like, whoa, young. I usually don't meet up with guys in their 20s at all. It's just a personal preference. That's too young for me. So yeah, eventually we went back to the hotel room, and it was this like really fancy hotel in downtown Milwaukee. Right when we walked inside the hotel room, I see two other guys in the hotel room. One of them is the guy I was texting who replied to my ad on Craigslist months ago, but we weren't meeting till now. Oh yeah, just letting you all know, I forgot to say this earlier, he's a blonde guy, and he was sucking off this other guy, and this other guy was just on his phone texting, and then the blonde guy was just sucking him off, and I was just looking at that, and I was like, geez, if I had a guy working my cock like that, I'd be going crazy. Gosh. So then I walk in, and then right after that, another man walks inside the hotel room, and he's like, geez, how many guys are you having over? And then right away I'm like, oh god, is this an orgy or something? I can't do this, because I don't really do well with group sex at all, so I'm just sitting there awkwardly. The husband guy who picked me up starts having sex with the guy who just walked in. The blonde guy who I was talking to on Craigslist is sucking this other boy off, and I'm just sitting there awkwardly, like, oh well, okay. Then the blonde guy walks over to me, and then like I see his face in the light, and I look at his face, and I thought he was gonna be like actually 40 or 50 years old, but when I looked at his face, he looked young enough to be my son, and I was just like, oh god. He really is 27 years old, and he wasn't underage at all because he had champagne and he had a room booked at the most expensive hotel in Milwaukee, so there's no way he was illegal at all, because how the hell would he get that if he wasn't? So then he says, it's nice to finally meet you, and then he pulls off my shorts, and then he starts sucking on my cock, and then I started moaning, and I started rubbing my hands through his hair and rubbing my hands on his shoulders, because that's what I do when a guy is pleasuring me. I interact with them, because I think that's the right thing to do, really. I don't like ignoring a guy or anything like that. But then, what happens is, after 3 or 4 minutes, he takes his mouth off my... First, he takes his mouth off my cock. Then he puts his hands on my hips, and then he drags me closer to the edge of the bed, and I thought he was going to keep going, and I was like, oh wow, this is really nice. I was finally getting comfortable and everything, but guess what he does? He turns his attention to the other guy, the guy who was texting on a cell phone right beside me, and he starts sucking him off instead, and I'm just like, what the hell? And this guy's just sitting there like texting on his phone, not even paying the guy any attention. So then I was just like, no. Like, afterwards, I just went from this to this right away. So I got up, I got in the shower, I rinsed off. I didn't want to be, like, rude or dramatic or anything. It was just that it was a huge turnoff for me. And I texted his husband, because I had his husband's phone number. I didn't walk out and say it to him out loud, I didn't want to. But I texted his husband, and I asked him, hey, could you please take me home now? And then he said, sure, I will. So I got out of the bathroom after I showered off and everything and put my clothes back on. And we left the hotel, and he took me home. And now I'm here right now recording this episode of Joe Winko Talk. Yeah. So, as I said earlier, I do not do well in group sex at all. I have autism, as you guys know, and I also have social anxiety. Now, if it's just one man pleasuring me, I'm totally fine with it. Or if it's two men who are both focusing on me, I'm totally fine with it. But if it's more than that and like a group sex scene, no, I can't get into it. But if it's a couple, it's fine. I mean, they finish me off first and then they go at it and finish each other off. It's fine with me. But not the whole group sex scene. I can't do that, honestly. But then I remembered this blonde guy who I was talking to for so many months. He told me that he had a turn on for being ignored while he's pleasuring a guy. Like, he likes for the guy to sit back and just ignore him and do something else while the guy's sucking him off. I distinctly remember he told me that. And I forgot about that, but right then I remembered it. And you know, in all honesty, I think that sucks. And not in a good way either. As I said earlier, no pun intended. I can't ignore a guy who's pleasuring me. I have to interact with him or else it's no good, really. And you know, it's actually a shame that people actually have turn-ons like that, seriously. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this. Anyhow, if you guys want, I can record more videos of me talking about sexual stuff, like my sexual fantasies and everything, and how I like being sucked off and everything. If you guys want me to record that, just type it in the comments. I'm going to anyway, but if you type it in the comments, it's just going to motivate me even more. And that's basically it. And, well, also another thing. I do remember telling him about my YouTube channel, and I understand that there's a chance they might actually be watching this video, but I highly doubt it though, because guys I hook up with never watch me on YouTube. It's like, oh hey, I'm also a famous YouTuber too. Super, we don't care. You will not be surprised how much I go through that. But that's basically it. So, yeah. Sorry I had some trouble explaining all this. It's kind of awkward to talk about this stuff to a camera, really, but I'm starting to get used to it. So don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr, and don't forget to donate to my GoFundMe. So that's it. Peace out, people.